So guys, before we get started, don't forget we do have that amazing discount code thanks to Tier 0 Games going on right now. And all you have to do is put in ZWGames5 to get 5% discount on your total order at tier0games.com. The links will be in the description below. What's up YouTube, Dow here from Zephyr Games, bringing you an updated Dragonmaid deck profile. Now, I took this to my locals last night. And this is exactly as I played it. Now there are some massive changes because I was forced to play certain cards in this deck that I wouldn't usually play because I left the others at home, mainly Super Poly and Extravagance. But I'll explain those once I get to them. Before we get started, please like, comment, subscribe and share if you enjoyed the video as well to help us push towards our 3-year subscriber goal as well. Anyway, before that, let's get into the profile. So, of course, you play triple of the short print, unfortunately, and that is Kitchen, Dragonmaid. Now, Kitchen is so important in the deck. This is the one that is basically your Deneb, your Stratos. It is your searcher of the deck. This gets you everything you need to get going. So when it's normal or special summons, you add a Dragonmaid, and then the 3s tag out for level 8 dragons, and the 2s tag out for level 7 dragons. We then play triple Nurse. Now some people are only playing 2 Nurse, and I completely understand that. If you are going to only play 2 Nurse, then I'll drop it down and probably bump Laundry up to 2. But Nurse is basically your Monster Reborn, your Altair basically. So if it's normal or special summon, you target a level 4 or lower Dragonmaid monster in your graveyard and special summon it except itself. And then it tags out for a level 7 dragon. And then you got your Foolish Burial, so your Parlor Dragonmaid. This one tags out for an 8. This is kind of like your Anonkwi. So this will send a Dragonmaid card from your deck to the graveyard. So 9 out of 10 you'll send the Dragonmaid Changeover, the fusion spell, and then you can just fuse into your house Dragonmaid. Again, annoyingly, Parlor was a bit of a short print as a super, but these are all very, very important ones. And then we do play the one Laundry. Laundry, in my opinion, is not as important because when it's normal or special summons, you send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. So the idea is that you're supposed to be milling into the big dragon so that you can then just go, okay, tag out for a big dragon. Now the biggest weakness with Dragonmaid is they have to wait until the battle phase. It's not something that they can just do, which is a bit disappointing. And the idea is that it would be nice if when they get targeted or they could possibly be destroyed, you could tag them out whenever you choose. That would have made the deck like insanely busted. But I still like the mechanic of kind of jumping out and then transforming during the battle phase to something a little bit beefier, a little bit stronger, and then tagging back out into your weaker ones. The only issues, and again, if it wasn't hard once per turns on the little ones, it would be busted because then you would just tag back out and then they'd get their effects again. So it's kind of cool the way that they work and kind of they change over, so it's a bit of fun deck to play. It's a shame that it wasn't cheaper to get, especially with the secrets. Moving on to dragons themselves, we play triple Dragonmaid Ernest. So this is kind of the main one that you'll be going into, and its quick effect is you discard this card to special on one level 4 or lower Dragonmaid monster from your hand. So it's a nice one to kind of extend your board a little bit further as well. And then at the end of the battle phase, you return this card to the hand and special summon a level 2 Dragonmaid. So the 7s are 2s and the 8s are 3s. We then play double Tinek. Now, this one again is quick effect, discard this card, target 1 Dragonmaid monster you control, it gains 2,000 attack until the end of this turn, so it's kind of a nice little attack boost should you be left with one of your weaker ones, or should one of your bigger beefers not be able to get over one of the boss monsters that your opponent has put on board. Then we play the one Nudulal, I probably butchered that name massively, and the one Lopar. So the blue one is basically the weaker one of the ones. You can cut this completely, but you discard this card, target 1 monster in either graveyard and shuffle it into the graveyard. Shuffle it into the deck. Again, the issue with these two is they're not quick effects. If they were quick effects, you'd probably play 3 of them. They're insane. But this one is basically target the graveyard, spin it back. So this is basically if your opponent is, I don't know, attempting to fill up their grave for grave plays during their turn or something like that, you'd spin it back and cause them issues. But because it's not a quick effect, you can't chain to Babel and stuff like that. If it was, it would be massively useful. And then the low power is you discard this card, then target 1 face-up monster on the field. Players cannot activate that target's effects on the field this turn. So again, because it's not a quick effect, it doesn't act like a Veiler. But if it did, then it would have made the deck so much better just by having them as quick effects. I mean, the other 2 are quick effects. I don't know why these 2 couldn't be. Then to finish off kind of like a Dragon Engine, we do play the one Tempest because you've got a couple of, you've got about 4 wins in here to recycle it, and you can also bring them out in other ways. Then a little tech that I picked up from Dark Arm Duelist. is the Bree Dragon. Now, it might not have come from Dark Arm Duelist, someone else might have made it, but that's where I kind of saw this being used. And the reason I like this, and he pointed it out very, very well, is that all of the lower Dragon Maids are 500 attacks. You could bring any one of them back. Yes, their effects are negated, but it does give you an instant link to Dragon Play or a synchro play should you need it. And I have used the exact same synchros in the extra deck as Dark Arm Duelist because I thought they were kind of like the best ones. You could change them up to other alternatives should you wish, but 9 out of 10, what I did use this one for was mainly just normal summon revive and then linking into the spheres or going into the Dragoonity as well. So that's kind of where I was going with the Bree Dragon. Then Double Ghost Ogre. Now this is one of the ones I was not forced to play, but I didn't bring my Ashes with me, and it actually won me more games than it should have done, or than Ash would have done. Is because everyone doesn't expect Ogre now. People are like, all right, I'm going to try and bait out an Ash, going to do this. Whereas an Ogre can actually really, really hurt a player because they just don't expect it. And I've seen it more times than not. I should probably be playing this more. And Ogre is very situational, which is why people are playing Ash over Ogre, and Ogre is kind of falling down the pecking order. However, because of that mentality and that play in the current game state, when an Ogre gets dropped on a player, they struggle to adapt sometimes. They'll go, whoa, I was not expecting that. I was expecting an Ash to stop my search. I was not expecting a later Ogre to destroy the card that I wanted to use. So stuff like Gateways in 6 Sams, Babbles during your opponent's turn, anything like that. Not Babbles. Stuff like Ding. I know Ding protects, but then if Ding detaches to protect, you can then Ogre it, and if it's not got a way to protect again, it then gets destroyed, or it loses another material. Whereas in a situation like that, Ash would be kind of dead. Now, like I said, it's very, very situational, but because less people are worried about it, and less people play it, people just go, they don't even consider that an Ogre could be dropped on them. So when you do, it does catch them off by guard. Now, I'm not saying I would play these over Ashes, I'm just saying keep these in mind, as they can catch your opponent off massively. And then the one Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, you know, quite straightforward and simple on this. Why would you not play this? All of your Dragon Maids are dragons. You banish them. You bring this guy out. You special summon another one, and you just go ham. And there was a cool little play that I made over at the locals. Is I used Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, special summoned a level 7 from my hand. Already had a level 7 from my hand that I used off of Send Off, and we'll get to Send Off in a minute as well because that came in clutch. And then made Big Eye, used Big Eye to steal my opponent's Boral Sword, and then just went mental with Boral Sword. Moving on to the spells, we've got Triple Hospitality. This card is insane. I love this card. So you special summon one Dragonmaid monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position. Then then you can send one Dragonmaid monster with the same attribute but a different level from your deck, or for the deck to the graveyard. So basically what it allows you to do is whatever you put on board, it allows you to get the alternative one from it. So whether you put the dragon on board and then bring the little one back, or whether you put the little one on board and then put the dragon in grave. So it gives you both an offensive and defensive play in the sense that you would go, play this, and then if you put the dragon in the graveyard, you go into the battle phase, you bounce the little one back, you then bring the dragon out, you do your battle damage, you then bounce the dragon back and bring the little one back, and the little one would then use its effect, whether you want to use the effect on the summon of this, or whether you want to use it on its own separate chain when it comes back down to the board. It's entirely up to you, depends if you've extended your board a little bit more or not. So it's a very, very cool card, very, very powerful, I really, really like it. And then we're playing 2 of the new card, Dragonmaid Send Off. I actually think this card's really good. It came in so clutch. So like, I was playing against Orcus, and they ran riot. They went absolutely mental. They went Boral Sword with IP during my turn. They then built the board even more, and they pretty much had game. And I was like, oh man, this is gonna suck. And then they forgot about my Send Off. So I used Send Off, brought down my level 7 Lepar Dragon, put it in defense mode. He couldn't get past it because obviously Boral Sword couldn't. No matter how much attack Boral Sword gets, it can't be destroyed by battle or card effect until the end of the next turn. So it's kind of like, okay, you're not getting past me because you're in the battle phase now as well. And then that's how I used the low par during the next turn to go into a big eye to then steal the Boral Sword and then go game my turn myself. Very cool card, very, very powerful. And then the next 5 cards are cards that I kind of ended up having to play because I left my Extravagance and Super Polys at home, and that is Triple Super Rejuve and Double Desires. Now again, these would become 2 Super Polys and 3 Extravagance, But actually, at the locals, Desires came in clutch again as well. Never used Super Rejuve. Never really resolved it, so that can easily come out. If you wanted to, you could do Desires and Super Poly over that. And then that just gives you a little bit more play to go around with, and you don't have to worry about the price tag of Extravagance. But it was just an option that I chose to use as well. We then play 3 Monster Reborns, 2 World Legacy Guard Dragons, and 1 Monster Reborn. Obviously, Guard Dragons is pretty much a reborn, Monster Reborn that you want anyway. And then it can also move one of your cards. So if you do want to set up the LP play, you do have the ability to do so. And then for the one-offs, you've got the 1 Dragonmaid changeover. The 1 Welcome, I'm probably going to cut this like straight up. It wasn't that useful for me whatsoever. I'm probably going to put the Dragon's Ravine and Destrudo engine in here, just for a little bit more consistency. Again, it was something that I left the Destrudo at home, and I was just like, God damn, I'm so unorganised on this. So that's that's my fault. But the deck still had quite a lot of fun. Dragon Mirror, again, I'll probably cut this as well. So it's basically just an alternative way of getting into your House Dragonmaid. Now you can loop this, but if they like DD Crow this in, you're in a bit of trouble. Mirror's kind of nice, but I don't think it was necessary. I can probably cut it, there's no loss on that at all. And then the 1 Trap, the Dragonmaid Downtime, never resolved this. Basically, you target a Dragonmaid monster you control, then activate one of these effects, return it to the hand, and if you do, add 1 Dragonmaid card from your deck to your hand except itself. It is continuous, so return it to the hand, and if you do, return 1 spell or trap card your opponent draws to the hand. Now, that's a nice effect during the end phase or something like that, as you can just bounce their spells, but it does require you to have a Dragonmaid monster you control, and then be able to return it to the hand as well. So it's an okay card, it's not busted. I wouldn't honestly choose to run it at more than 1. I think 1's more than enough, and it does its job just fine. Moving on to the extra deck, of course, we've got 2 House Dragonmaids. This is obviously your boss monster from the extra deck. Moving on to the Synchros, again, Dark Arm Duelist shout out on this one. So the 1 Coral Dragon and the 1 Black Rose. Black Rose less so, I'm probably considering cutting Black Rose completely myself. Coral Dragon's quite a nice one because you discard a card, target a card, pop a card, and then if it is leaves, you get to draw a card, or if it's sent from the field to the graveyard, you get to draw a card. So it's kind of nice in that sense if you do link it away. So that's nice. It is a dragon. It's very situational again, which is why you'd probably cut these out, and you can probably put in more Destrudo target synchro plays as well. For the XYZs, of course, we got. I'm loving these guys. Big Eye and Red Eyes Flare Metal. It's just nice to play with these guys again because, you know, I play them in Dark Magician, and again, when Master Rule 5 comes in, or Master Rules, however you want to call it, comes into play, then I'm going to love playing these again. Red Eyes Flare, I just love the burn, 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 burn kind of effect. And then the Big Eye, like I said, I stole someone's Boral Sword. Again, at this moment in time, they're cards that people are not expecting. So when they're losing them, they're just like, oh, damn, that exists. And the player I played against picked this up a couple of times, like, hang on, this does that? So yeah, it's kind of nice to play around with those. For the 8s, Hope Harbinger, and then the Galaxy. Now the Galaxy again is more specific, because it does require the level 8s, and they are going to be dragons. Hope Harbinger is probably your more protective one that you're going to go with, and this is mainly your main phase 2 if you choose not to bounce your cards back. And then even if you want to use your House Dragonmaid, it's really, the only reason you're going to these is if you go, okay, what I've got on my board right now is not going to win me or show me out the game, so I make one of these and it will. It's the only reason you'll do that. Then onto the links, we'll start with the link ones. So we've got the, obviously, LP and Pitsy, standard Guard Dragon play, as you do. The link 2s, the beautiful Heretic Seals, the IP Masquerina, and your Dragoonity Knight. Again, IP, very, very rare. You can like use and abuse it to an extent because your high levels aren't that busted. And what I would say is you'd probably put another boss monster in this deck just for it. But the best thing about this is if you use the Bree Dragon and another dragon, then of course you're good to go. And 9 times out of 10 you're going to the Dragoonity as well, because Dragoonity will then give you the effect to special summon one. When a dragon is special summoned to a zone it points to, and you've got stuff like your Red Eyes, you've got your Fusion as well. So this will then trigger that, and then the Spheres is obviously a nice defensive play. And then to make off of your IP Masquerina, you've got the one Nightmare Unicorn, just because it's an additional disruption. And then I've got to love the BLS Soldier of Chaos. Now, you can cut this out completely because I know it is stupid money right about now. But the best thing about him is, because you've got a lot of high levels, if you use an IP Masquerina plus one of your high level dragons plus another monster, he's then going to be, can't be destroyed by battle. Can't be destroyed by card effect. Then you've got, he can't be targeted by his own effect. Then if you boost him up to 45, your opponent is going to really, really struggle to get rid of him. And I think it's a great card to play around with. If you don't have it, do not worry. You can just put in another boss monster like a Boral Load or a Boral Sword. It's just another alternative that you go off of IP just to give your opponent more of an issue to deal with. But 9 times out of 10, you'll be going into your Unicorn. So, that is it for the profile. I hope this gave you a couple of ideas on your own kind of version of the deck. By all means, there's a couple of versions that I've seen floating around out there, and you can see the different varieties that the deck kind of plays with and abuses and uses. And it's definitely quite fun to see how the deck interacts. Like I said, I don't think it's as busted as I would have loved it to have been. Like, just to be able to see this deck go, ooh, I'm going to be able to do this, 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 and this is kind of cool. But nonetheless, I still think it's a fun deck. It's a shame that it's not a fun deck price, and what I mean by that is stuff like Kitchens are 20-25 quid, and then Nurses are 15s. I think is the lowest I've seen it. So you getting a place at a Dragonmaid, Kitchen's 75 quid plus 2. You're probably looking at like 100 quid just on 5 cards, and then if the person is nice enough, they might chuck in the rest of the bundle for like 10-15 quid. So you're still looking for an over 100 quid cost for a deck that isn't going to be dominating the meta, and it's not really that affected by the new Master Rule 5s, really, anyway. But it's still very, very cool. They are getting new support, like their new fusion is insane. But if you've got them, I would probably hold on to them until the new fusion comes out. If you don't have them but want them, have a look around. You might be able to find some cheaper Kitchens floating around at this point. The issue with the middle sets like this is very rare that these cards get reprinted close together, but you never know. Anyway, I hope you like this. I hope this gave you a couple of ideas on your own version, and a couple of ideas on this version of ways that you might want to improve it, change it up. Like I said, if you've got the money, put in your Super Polys and your Extravagances as well, and then you'll change up the extra deck, probably take out the IP, the BLS, and go in for Super Poly targets as well. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and until next time, guys, as always, happy dueling.